1,000-year building spree, a public works project like no other on Earth before or since. The Step Pyramid would be the first of more than 100 pyramids built from 2600 BCE to 1600 BCE, each one based on Imhotep's original design. Within a century of Imhotep's death, his step pyramid form evolved into a steeper stepped pyramid, then into a bent pyramid, and finally into the true pyramid form. Within the same 100 years, pyramids grew in size from nearly 200 feet tall and 400 feet wide to almost 500 feet tall and 800 feet wide. Although scientists have unlocked many of the secrets of how the pyramids were built, one question remains unanswered. Why did Imhotep choose the triangle to symbolize eternal life? The answer may be hidden as a clue on the base of Djoser's statue. The text on the base reveals that one of Imhotep's titles was High Priest of Heliopolis. Today, Heliopolis is a bustling, crowded suburb of Cairo. But in Imhotep's time, it was the home of a powerful cult of the sun. The triangle was a key symbol of the cult because the sun's rays stream down from the heavens in beams that form triangles. The focal point of the sun cult was the Benben stone, the mythical stone from which the world was created and the first god appeared. The actual stone has long been lost, but its shape survives in the hieroglyph for the Benben, which ends in a triangular pyramid shape. For Imhotep, High Priest of Heliopolis, the triangular shape of the sun's rays and the Benben stone, as mirrored in the step pyramid, would have been a powerful tool to guarantee life after death.
Egyptians built pyramids in a shape of a Benben, and also in the same time to be connected with the sun god. But the Benben also can be represented as the top of the pyramid. It is the symbol for the sun god Ra. It is the symbol of finishing the pyramid. It is the symbol of the king to be a god.
Just a few hundred yards from the step pyramid, deep within the burial chamber of the pharaoh Yunus, is further evidence of what the pyramid meant to the ancient Egyptians. Covering the walls of the tomb are carved hieroglyphic writings called the pyramid texts. This guide to the afterlife instructs the king to climb a staircase to the heavens. There, the king would catch a ride with the sun god, Ra, to eternal life. For the ancient Egyptians, the step pyramid was literally a stairway to heaven. But Imhotep's plans for helping Pharaoh Djoser reach the afterlife were not limited to the exterior of the pyramid and the above-ground temple complex. His plans extended beneath the sands. Dr. Salima Ikram, a leading authority on ancient Egyptian burial practices, goes underground to shed light on Imhotep the mummy. Lurking below the desert sands, cut into solid rock, is the most extensive and complicated network of shafts, tunnels, false doors, chambers, and galleries the Egyptians ever created. Three miles of underground corridors connect 400 subterranean rooms, filled with everything from food to art, gold, and jewels. Imhotep created an extensive maze of dead ends and false doors to lead grave robbers away from the great riches and the one object that caused the entire pyramid complex to be built, the burial chamber of the pharaoh.
This is the final resting place of the pharaoh Djoser of the Third Dynasty. Here there's a shaft that goes down for 90 feet, leading to a small granite burial chamber, which was closed by a granite plug weighing 3.5 tons. Inside this chamber lay the sarcophagus, and inside the sarcophagus was a wooden coffin, which contained the mummy of the pharaoh Djoser.
It's here, at the bottom of Djoser's tomb shaft, where Imhotep the architect and Imhotep the doctor converge. As the king's vizier, Imhotep would have been in charge of building the burial shaft, and as high priest, he would have supervised Djoser's mummification. It's through the perfection of mummification that Imhotep would have gained an extraordinary knowledge of the workings of the human body. But when archaeologists entered Djoser's tomb in 1934, all they found of the pharaoh were his torso, right arm, and left foot.
If you look at the mummy, or the bits rather that are preserved, you can see the foot is beautifully preserved. It consists of linen bandages wrapped around the foot, and these are done in such great detail that you can see the toenails and indeed all the tendons of the foot. Now, this is very typical of Third Dynasty mummification, so clearly this must be a portion of the body of the pharaoh Djoser.
200 years after Djoser's death, the process of mummification was nearly perfected, exemplified by this beautifully preserved 4,000-year-old mummy of Nefer. Not only is the body wrapped and the linen sculpted, but a new technique has been introduced: evisceration, the surgical removal of the body's internal organs. If it was Imhotep who developed these techniques, then his mummy should be as well preserved as Nefer's.
Now, if we find Imhotep, we can expect that his body will be modeled, and presumably his face and details of his physique would be painted or modeled on the bandages. So we would indeed have a very good idea as to what he looked like in his life, or what he thought his ideal self should look like for the afterlife.
Mummification had a great influence on Egyptian medical practices. By supervising the embalmer's work, Imhotep would have gained extensive knowledge about the position of internal organs and human anatomy. He may have applied what he learned from preserving the dead to healing the living. A few miles from the Step Pyramid at the Giza Pyramids, scientists recently discovered archaeological evidence that Imhotep may have had the perfect living laboratory for practicing medicine. Dr. Zahi Hawass, one of Egypt's foremost archaeologists, made a spectacular find near the Great Pyramid at Giza in 1990. Hawass unearthed the complex where the workers who built the Great Pyramids were housed and buried. Hawass's excavation of the workers' village and cemetery is shedding new light on how the pyramids were built and changing old ideas about how the workers lived and died.
From each skeleton, there is a story.